Right, Downie? Uh, I've been watching you for a long time in terms of what you share on connecting the dots. Personally, I'm very inspired that as much as you've gone through all your life in terms of all the difficulties of and challenges of having children, bring up them, and all the businesses alongside with you, you are able to actually empower women to find their own self-confidence, to connect the dots in their life so that they can live a life purposefully and break through their own self-limiting beliefs. And I think that is a great gift that you're gifting to the world and to all the women out there to know that they can be on their own with or without a partner. They can actually create their own life for themselves.
To thank Downie for the opportunity. Did not only show me who I am, but it also showed me what I can give to others. People who are just like us, people who need someone to support them, people who really need someone to inspire them. I do thank Downie for this opportunity.
I have to be somebody better today. I have to be better somebody tomorrow.
Downie, her story in the introduction was so inspiring, and she told us that it is possible for women to take up their space.
I give them clarity. I connected to their heart as to what's important. And when I start to help them put that together in their books or their products and their services and they can learn. What is it that you're passionate about? And how can you take advantage of what's happening on the planet right now?
The opportunities are there. They're not just local, they're global, and we can fit into it. Downie, for me, she spoke to me, and I'm inspired too.
So next month, what have I got? Technical gadgets for small business. Guess what I'm going to use? Simple, right? Then look at May. What have I got? Marriage and business. Yes. Yes. And then I was brought up in an era where I was told to get married, have children, and I'll be taken care of. Translate that and shape those thoughts and ideas into skills that we can transfer to change this world. And doesn't it really need changing now? Doesn't it really need people who are passionate, progressive, and self-evolving? Where do we want to go? I think it's really time for us to define and develop our ideas so that we can create new realities.
Have you ever felt like in school or growing up, sometimes you never really taught how to succeed, or even if you do, you are taught how to succeed. You learn about goal setting and working towards that, which I think is great. But I think that there's a huge flaw and an area that you're totally neglecting. You know, when you learn how to do this stuff, if you ever do, instead of thinking about the whole logical process of what you need to do or what your values, the values that you stand by, your innermost needs that you need to satisfy to be able to succeed, really, not even just in your career or any of your projects, but just in life in general. And the reason why I like Di's product, she has really simple step-by-step processes for you to easily understand. And I think one of the things that really stood out was I would rather spend more time up front planning and understanding myself to be able to be successful in the future than walking around aimlessly for a year or two trying to figure out what the heck to do. And it's really super simple. Di is very, she's very helpful and she's very accessible. And she'll help you if you learn to help yourself.
Di had made it so easy for me to gather my thoughts in my head.
Downie, and she actually is an inspiration to all women. I am very inspired by her empowerment for ladies. So I recommend Di to your audience because she brings an international presence, a creative eye, and a kind word. Thank you.
Class, elegance, poise, and a funky accent are the ways that I would describe Di Downie.
Di will have your back.
Like some of the points that you've raised about listening, about women coming into their softness and being vulnerable.
And I appreciate what you have shared with me. Is just empower me, not only women, but men as well, to being able to have the skills of speak from their hearts and overcome situations like that. Thank you, Dad.
Session with Di Downie, and it's been incredible. It's reaffirmed the journey that I'm on and some of the steps that I need to take to get myself to the global stage. And I particularly liked the emphasis on passion and passion leading to purpose, and that we get shown pictures. I certainly get shown pictures about where I'm going to be, what I'm going to be doing, and the direction I need to go in. So that was really the great take home, to pay more attention, how to structure things as well, and be global, and also give you credibility and enhance your product. Thank you, Di. It's been a wonderful afternoon.
Hi, Di Downie. Personally, for someone who has been going through life and not knowing what they want and do not know how the different parts of the life, what we have been through, how it pieced together, it is really very absolutely important for people, for anyone, to be able to find what they are here to do, what's their life purpose, and what should they be doing for themselves in their life. So it is really a very wonderful job that you are doing.
Thank you, Di.
Again, thank you, Di.
So thank you so much, Di.
All I got to say, Di, is thank you.
I share that video because it took a long time. I normally just share 1 or 2 minute videos, but I'd shared that video because it's relevant to what we're talking about today in the variety and how I've had to sort out what my skills are. And it hasn't been an easy task. So I welcome you to the Holiday Breakthrough webinar, which I intend to share with you 3 things that come from each section of how I've been able to split up my thinking and my experiences and my processes. This is a sizzle reel that actually I had made about 5 years ago. Some of these things have changed now, and there's a purpose again why I'm showing this today.
Hi, Downie here. I'm extremely proud of my children. Kate and Jay are now able to pursue their dream. That was my goal. That was my objective, that they could do in life without compromise, the thing that really drives them. Not just their passion, but a sense of purpose. I do the same thing for my audiences because I was looking for that purpose, but I found my answers. I learned a skill set that was very unique, and that was the art of self-empowerment through communication, entrepreneurship, and presentation. I've operated 8 successful businesses, and as a result, I've been able to transfer my processes because they're all technique-driven. They don't require any talent. I'm proud of myself because over hundreds of lives have been impacted through my businesses and my events. I have never had a single failure yet. It's my way of paying this forward. I so look forward to sharing my life's work with you. A life's work that's transferable, a life's work that's duplicatable, a life's work that will enable, empower, manifest your dreams, manifest your systems, position them online and offline, differentiate you as the only logical choice and an authority. There's something you believe in so that you can touch millions of other lives on this planet while you're here. I can think of nothing that I would rather do than to give this to you. I'm Di Downie, international speaker, best-selling author, entrepreneur with 39 years under fire experience, mother of 2, and I know that this might be a bit hard for you to believe, but I would love to gift you my life's work. Find out where I am, and I'd love to gift you something worth millions of dollars that can change the quality of your life. It has for hundreds of other people like you, with families like yours. Hi, Downie.
another piece of my history. When I think of some of these companies that I'm pulling up here, some of them you're not going to know, some of them you are going to know because some of you are Australian and some of you are not Australian. But I've worked in the corporate industry, in the corporate field for about 40 years, alongside my coaching and my other businesses, which you're going to be seeing today. And there's one thing that all of these people have in common, and it's the way that I've been able to work with them and extract out what it is that their ideas are, be able to put them into a plan that will get their return on their investment, and it's been in the marketing field. And so then we can then translate that and transform that into some sort of exhibition. Maybe it's a marketing strategy in a shopping centre to attract more people into their shopping centres. Maybe it is just to get a straight ROI on their attendees at their expo. So varying events I have run for this is just a small number of clients that I've worked with Australia-wide. And what this has done is that this particular business and this part of this business and this part of my life, I was able to bring, of course, the skills that I have had before, but it actually made us a lot of money because I was able to name my price, not only because I could do the job at hand and I had the people behind me in my operations to be able to do the job, as in design the set, deliver the set, set it up, man it, organize it, take it away. I also had the skills to be able to make it easy for the marketing person and the CEO of these companies to be able to actually see the whole process and then to be able to work with the KPIs. That's part of the Holiday Breakthrough Program, which I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about later on. So this is another little video, and I use a lot of videos, and there's a particular reason why I use videos, which I'm going to show you. But this, you don't actually have to hear what I'm saying here. What I'm showing here is I have collected a lot of little pieces of the last 5 years. Here I am being translated in Japanese and being able to deliver my message here in Kota Kinabalu. Again, to men and women. And this woman that's just coming up here is actually looking at her phone to see what is the snapshots that she's been taking that actually help her to get clearer direction. And here we are talking about in Bahrain on television set, how can we make, I'm going to stop this just for a little minute. What that Bahrain television series was all about was how could Hamza, who was one of the people that came with me from Bahrain, how can the companies that sponsored her get more return on their investments because they sponsored her? They gave her money so that she was able to travel with me and create some sort of awareness in Africa, which is where we are here. And I did say that, well, my vision was something small, maybe 20 or 30 people. There was like 500 people here at this event in Mombasa. It grew and it grew and it grew and it grew. And by being able to go then to Bahrain after the Africa trip, it was a way of being able to create a return on investment by me going there, being on TV, being on radio, so that those companies would be able to get more spread of the message that Bahrain's government money and business money was going into, being able to help Bahrain to become more globally aware. I'm teaching exactly what I teach in my mentoring program. Skills, attributes, my values, planning, rituals, routines. And I don't think I have the clip in here, but I was able to use a tool so that people could give an application with a piece of paper and fill in an application like these women did to continue working with me. And they still work with me today, as of today, which is a very fascinating thing, because it's like if we don't have tools and processes to capture those leads and then put them into a system, how can we grow with them and keep offering them our pieces of work? Here I am again in Bahrain. Here I am in Dubai. and a radio interview in
welcome to
Dubai.
Demand. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I've really got to a point in my life where I want to share. I want to give back.
And as many as you know now, I developed from the International Women's Day a program called Global Women's Voice. We have done series 4. Regina has been one of the core speakers right from the very beginning. So always able to rely on Regina to be able to bring and support and be able to emotionally support me as well, which I think is really an important aspect. So what is it that you guys want from being able to make breakthroughs from the middle of December through to the middle of January? And start to write those down as we start to go through some of these processes. Some of you have already met my grandmother, who died 12 years ago. But 62 years ago, she made a decision very, very difficult for my mum when they lived in a very, very small timber town. Of course, we're talking the late 50s. So to have a baby out of wedlock was the most shameful thing that you could ever have. So I was brought up with my uncles and my uncles helped to guide my grandmother while my mother went off and worked and got into another relationship. But my grandmother was the one that really had the iron hand of, this is how this child's going to be brought up. This is, you need to keep her hidden because people actually don't need to know that she exists. And that's how I grew up. I grew up being excluded and being sort of under the mat because I was born out of wedlock. And that showed in my school years when, by the time I got to grade 4, the teacher came up to me, and this is my teacher, Mrs. Mary Main, and she says, you're not going to be going any further. Probably for the next couple of years, we need to keep you in grade 4 because you're not developing and you'll get new friends, but you'll have me as a teacher next year. And of course, I was really excited. I had no clue what that really meant, except for when I went home and my parents were like so angry. And it started to set in that I was stupid, that I wasn't good enough, that I was dumb, that I wasn't able to put 2 and 2 together. And that also then started to impact me until I started to recognize where I had come from. And this is a family photo of me meeting one of my half brothers from my biological father. And it's a very long, convoluted story. And I can only in this hour give you a little tiny snapshot, but it shows that I was able to then start to recognize where I had come from, why, what had happened, or the reason why it's the era, I think that it's changed very much. Like one of my daughters right now is having an IVF baby all by herself. We will there be to support her. So it's changed a lot in the last 60 years of how we can bring our children up into the world. And I think how people have catapulted in this, especially in this era. Well, it's been happening for 40 years with the New Age, the whole New Age movement in the Western society. But this last year has really catapulted people into being more aware about themselves and being able to take time to carve out what it is that is important to them and being able to really just accept their history. Thank goodness, one of my uncles, the man in that picture right there, was the man that actually introduced me to my history. So I'm very, very extremely grateful for him. And I wonder who you are grateful for in your life, and are you able to, take that gratefulness and really, I've used him and that marriage as a role model for the way that we have brought up our kids. And I think for me, being able to look back into my history, to be able to accept it, and that hasn't gone at a cheap price. I've spent a lot of money on my personal development, my spiritual growth, and being able to live in the now, be present for my children and my husband and my friends and my clients and my larger extended family like you guys, and being able to really start to put together how I've got to where I was and where I am now. So let's move into, I think what we're here for is this globalization that has happened. It's been happening for a really, really long time. But this year in 2020, it's really, you would all agree, I am positive of it, is that it's expanded and we have no choice now to be able to get the skills to be able to go online. So I think one of the main problems is that people don't recognize where they are now. And this is an old slide. And it's one that maybe I should put in a lot more work to it. But if you can write down what stage you are in, not the stage of your life, but are you in transition? I know that a couple of you are in transition right now. And I think, I've found being in transition extremely frustrating because I love to know where I'm going, what I am to do, how I'm to do it, who I'm going to do it with, why I'm doing it. But when you're in transition, you have no clue as to why you're doing anything in your life. And that can be frustrating. Do you want to go global? Or are you already starting to go global? Have you got some pieces together already? Are you building something? Have you already got something? Like I know that Victor has really built in the last program that we've just done together, is he started to build a totally different website for a product that probably, he's had in the back of his mind, but now he's actually building something that can take him forward. And it may be something that's not going to keep going forever and ever and ever. But he knows that he's starting to build something, and there's lots of decisions to be made. But what are you building and what have you got in place? Are you personally growing? Would you give yourself a mark out of 1 to 10 as to how do you gauge yourself with your own personal development? Do you think that at times, and I know for me, I just go, look, I don't even want to be a part of this anymore. I just feel that I need a rest from doing any more programs, doing any more personal development and learning any more skills. And then other times in my life, I've spent years and thousands of dollars helping myself to grow. So are you growing? And are you actually going global? You may be digital, but are you actually global? And this, I put this in because the Global Women's Voice has really shown me that, and probably Regina would, if you want to comment on this, I don't know, but what I've found is that it's shown me that even though we might have digital skills to be able to take us global, are we au fait with time zones? Are we able to and have an insight into other cultures? Do we know what those other cultures' values are, and do we know what they need when we are talking to them? Have we done our homework? Have we visited the place? Have we spoken with people from other cultures at length so that we actually understand? So are you going global truly? And then the other thing that I think is, are you in a space where you are willing to experiment? I know that everybody that's done some of my work is that it's a big thing that I recommend, is to, if you want to be starting something, not necessarily new, but new is included, but if you want to build something that is, you're not quite sure of how to do, and maybe you're paying somebody to help you, are you experimenting with that? And will you put a time limit? And mainly things like from your personal routines and rituals to, and one of the things I specifically talk about there is like, it may be about creating something that you're doing every day. And are you experimenting with that to see if it works? Unfortunately, I just can't spend a lot of time on this because I'm going to be really strict with my timing. Then the other exercise that I would get you to do today is, what position are you in? Now, when I pull up these words, and they're only words at this point, are you in the well-being industry? Are you an entrepreneur? Most people would have one, either strictly one area or two. Like I am in more entrepreneurial digital transformation, not environment for me, enhancing life, and a little bit of investment. I do a little bit of investment style, and I don't teach investment. So my areas would be well-being, entrepreneurialism, and enhancing life. What areas do you fit in? If you're a doctor, of course, you're going to be coming under well-being, and then maybe digital transformation, or well-being and communication. So what position are you in? What industry are you in? But more, what position are you in? And are you aware of being able to use some of those keywords in your website, in your SEOing, in your social media, in your artwork for some of your programs? Shirley actually is probably the best person for me that has been able to really nail it when she said what she has got out of working with me.
For me, it's helped me get focused.
Yes, and that's, I mean, you have to do that.
What I've gained is a process and some focus to stop like, whoa, the bigger kind of all over the clouds into these are the deliverables that can bring in the people who are looking for what I can offer. Thank you. I so appreciate you being there, Di. Thank you for all you do. Lots of love to you and your family.
So many people are distracted, and it's so easy to be distracted. Can anybody here give me a plus of what you have learned from doing one of my programs, and what you're able to achieve by staying focused? You can unmute yourself, because I feel like I've just talked now for 30 minutes and I want more interaction. I hate just being able to be I hate the talking head thing. I love to have that connection. Regina.
Yeah. So you're just asking what the plus is for being able to focus? Is that?
Yes. And specifically, what is one thing that you've really been able to get your teeth in and do and have a result that you could share because you knew that you were being focused and you just spread apart the distractions?
I guess it's kind of like when you're shooting a bow and arrow, where you have a specific target and you know you're going to hit it straight. I guess the pluses are just being very clear on, with the digital transformation, just being really clear on who you're talking to and having specific words to say. And a recent example is I'm just reigniting one of my social media accounts, and I just started collaborating with some people locally for a Christmas giveaway, a very specific group of women. And it's growing my audience for these very specific people that would want to hear what I hear.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, my following has grown locally quite a bit since the giveaway has started, and we still have another couple weeks to go.
So by focusing, you've been able to specifically go local and offer something specific to those people, and then you've just put everything else aside.
Right.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you. So what are the realistic expectations from a very, very short webinar like this? Is hopefully you'll have if you weren't already, and Regina is very clear, is clarity on what you have to have in place now. And I know that Regina is totally clear on that. And the opportunity not only to direct your ideas, but also your passions. And then the other one is to take away the position to lead your market. Those two previous slides is if you are able to take away some of those words, or two of those words, or three at the very most, one or two, then you will be able to start to flesh out where you are and the position in the marketplace that you belong in. So what I've been able to do is, and I know that some of you have been able to do this as well, is that I have been able to split up what my experiences have been and what skills I have. And I've created a 5-dimensional program. There's 3 proven steps. The 5-part comes from 3 proven steps from the Downie method, and everything starts with D. So I recommend you either do 3 words, 5 words, 7 words, or an acronym to be able to split up your information if this is really something that you're passionate about doing. And the first one that I'm going to quickly go over is how can you define being able to go through a self-evolving process that will continue, that will absolutely keeping on continuing. I know that this is proven over and over and over again with the people that I've worked with and for myself. And for me, I've become a grandmother this year. And it's been another whole level of experience of living and communicating. And who am I communicating with when I'm talking to my kids now? And watching these kids bringing up these babies. It's a very different era. And so this slide, although it's very tacky, it really does show that, you know, where did we start from? Like little Dudley that you just saw there, my grandson, is where did you start? And as we go through teenage years and then we start to develop into, you know, more adulthood, all we've done so far is experiment in our lives. And what have you experimented with? Do you remember? And then we start to get some stability in our life as we start to have children and we start to have grandchildren, and we come of an age of where we start to begin to recognize what's really, really important to us. And those values change and our needs certainly change as we become older and more responsible for not only for people, but are more responsible for the planet and a bigger picture of maybe what we're involved with. And the older we become and the more responsibilities that we have, all that happens is that it takes us through our life of being able to hopefully live a more fulfilled life. And that's my whole purpose, is how can I share processes that has given me more purpose and has given me more designing ability to be able to really make the money that I want to make and to be able to live it in a way that I would love to live it with the people that I want to live with. So to be able to define your brand, your history actually defines your brand. And that's the very reason why I did such a long video at the very beginning. And then I did my old sizzle reel. And then I showed you a little bit of where I've been around the world. It actually helped me to create my brand. And it all came from being able to recognize where I have come from. And what I would recommend is, and I know that people that have worked with me before, is things like these, and you'll see these later, is, you know, being able to go and find newspaper clippings of what did you do? Where were you at certain times? What certificates did you earn? What photographs do you have? You know, photographs like this, which I absolutely love this photo. This is when we are in our probably 20s, 30s. What is that saying to me? Has our relationship changed? What are the colors that I like? What's the tone of my skin, so that the colors that I like to wear, are they reflected in my brand when everybody sees me? And so again, we can't talk about a lot of this, but it's the tone rather than the color. And it's more the depth rather than the words. And it's more the ability to be able to extract where you have been to where you want to go. That actually defines your brand, by people being able to hear that you're just a simple person doing what you love to do. I used to work with consults more than groups, because of course 2001, yes, there was the internet, but it was very basic. And Helen was one of my long-term clients, and she says that when she figured out what she valued and what she tolerated, that she realizes this, and this was 16 years later after we were working together, that it actually confirmed how my intention from her work, and that she realized that it's the very first principle of everything to help her move out of her drama of her life and clearly define her moves. And I think this, I keep this in here, this testimonial, because I think our world has changed in so many different ways that a lot of people actually don't want to admit that they are in drama or there are things going on. And because everything needs to be perfect now, we are in this comparing world.
The fact that you were able to teach me something so simple that I can do on a daily basis. And I already, in fact, already started doing it, and I'm seeing the results of it. That is clarifying my mind about what are the things that I really love and what are the things that I really enjoy about life that now I'm going to be able to incorporate into my business.
I just love this lady. She often tells me the simple little tool that I taught her, she still uses. It's very, very cool when you know that something works and you're able to share it. It's like it gives you that, yes, I'm on the right track. I put this slide in because when I wrote this book 6 years ago, and I put this exact diagram in, I only talk about one vision, and now I teach 4 visions, that you need to have 4 visions. You need to have a vision for your work life, your relationship, and also your personal life, and then your family. So there's actually 4 different aspects of your life that I highly recommend people to get really super clear on. And there's only a certain amount that you can go in here to start to flesh it out in such a short in a book. You know, in a book, you can only do that in a very small way, but then especially in a short webinar like this. So another thing for you to write down, are you really clear on your 4 visions? One of the buildings in Perth City right now has building cancer. And our company, our events production company, we were given the opportunity to quote on how can we cover a 15-meter wall by 4 meters high, 15 meters long, so that the wall with cancer could be hidden so that the work could be done behind the facade. And so what we had to come up with is we had to come up with not only the dimensions and the cost and the logistics, but we also had to come up with a theme. So as you can see, it's Italy. So one of the things that I highly recommend is when you're sorting out and thinking about what is your vision, what is the picture in your back of your mind for your 4 visions, is what are the themes for each one of those visions? Because then that starts to translate into, when you start to flesh out your year, you have an overriding and overarching theme of really, what is this? How do you want it to be seen? And what is it that you're going to be giving to people? And do you love it? Do you love the theme? And then do you love what you're putting into this plan for these visions? So to be able to direct your message, my message, and everybody that's done some work with me, it's so important. And I think it's bantered around now. Again, so many things have changed since I developed this program. This is actually one of my old books. My business was called Coach Academy. It was run in the 1990s, and I developed this plan. I developed this tool. And what it does is it takes people through a whole list of values, needs, and a process so that they can figure out what they are tolerating in their life so that they actually can have a lifestyle, and so that they can actually ask for what's needed for further connection. And what I've realized is when people are able to figure out and create this foundation, magic actually happens. And again, because we have a short period of time here, I could only give you a tiny little taste of this. And one of the key areas that I chose today to share is the area of connection, because I think that connection is what people are hankering for right now, especially in this pandemic year, are one of these 3 values. Which one of these 3 values really hits home to you? Do you want to be bonded when you are connecting? Do you want to be accepted when you are connecting? Do you want to be in touch with? And what do these things mean? And then how can you start to see this bond or being accepted or being in touch with actually playing out? Because a value is an action word. Kate, I loved this video from you.
Hi, Downie. Thank you very much for helping me understand what I need to start an online business as a woman entrepreneur. I didn't quite get that you really needed a floor plan, beginning, middle, and end, and then not only for the outside, meaning the business building, but inside myself, am I meeting all my needs through building this business, or some of my needs getting in the way of me building this business? Very provocative learning, very powerful. Thank you.
Beautiful. It's like when I got that video, Kate, it was like, wow, she actually got that her personal needs are a part of her foundation. And once we can start to really, really get clear, and this process takes you through a process of identifying and giving you examples of what needs really are. They're not doing words, they're feeling words. And it's a process of being able to help you to label your feelings. I'm just a simple woman. I'm 61 going on 62, and I'm a simple woman sharing what I know from what I love. So what I want to do now is I want to ask your permission if I can share my family with you and share what I have done to support my family over the years. My two girls and my grandson, Dudley, who you saw before, are an absolute joy for me. And then I have another little girl in my life, which some of you know about, which was a disastrous story, and she is part of my family. And so I don't have an ordinary family. And I put this together and I juggle my life so that I'm able to do what I would love to do in a way that helps me to support all different people and different stages in my family. Even my puppy dog, who is sitting here, hopefully, yes, in her bed asleep. So this gives you an idea. This was my very first business. I had absolutely no clue what I was doing. I was married, and most of you have heard this story. In the first 5 years of our marriage, it was drought. So I had to figure out a way to be able to make money. And of course, in that era, what is this? Maybe the mid 80s, something like that. That's 1984, actually, that article, Top Advice on Corncraft. A lot of articles was written about me because I used to travel around the wheat belt of Western Australia teaching this crazy craft. But it put food on my table. I was able to write this book, which now I think I'm only just coming into, it's only just coming into me. What I mean by that is that I've always been embarrassed about this book because it's really basic. My drawer, I can't draw for nuts. I cannot draw for nuts. I mean, these diagrams, I did it because I had to make money. And this business took us through a really tough time financially, and it put food on our table. And then this was the period of when we had our children and when our children were starting to draw on our bank account. And so my beauty therapy, my aromatherapy, my Reiki, the courses went for years and years and years. My writing went for years and years and years. And I was able to educate people in the wheat belt of Western Australia, and then I went Australia-wide to be able to teach people how to take care of their skin, what tones of clothes, and how to put together what it is that really suits you on your body and your body shape. And that business helped us to pay off our property. That passion that grew really helped us to start to put our kids through school and to allow our kids to start to experiment. And then this business, in our flower farm business, was again out of a necessity. We had to get out of the big family farm thing because there was a rift in the family, which often happens in farming families. And so we needed to go start a new business. So I ran the beauty therapy businesses, 3 of them. And then we had these small children and we developed a flower farm. And as you can see, we grew wildflowers and we grew them for the export market, mainly Japan in that era. They were Japanese people, the main people that were coming through to Western Australia. And again, a lot of articles were written about us. And this business is still going today. It's morphed. It has changed. We've had to reinvent ourselves. And this now is the business that we are running together, or I run with my husband, for producing events. So it changed from growing or supplying large foliages to growing flowers, to delivering flowers, to building events, managing events, and now we've gone back to building. So how and what have you done in your life where you have had to reinvent yourself? Not only because the market's changed, but were you able to take it in a direction that you're passionate about? And this article I showed everybody the other day, it was written in 1994, and it talks about me. It talks about me not having a kitchen. It talks about why I took my kitchen out. It talks about our kids. It talks about my clients. It was one of the very first articles in Australia that was written about life coaching, because most people thought coaching was football coaching. But as I've gone, and then I left that for about 20 years and then came back and started to travel the world. Here I am in Japan, back in Bahrain, and now, of course, online, which is now how you know me. And this business has been able to pay for not as much as our event business and my beauty therapy business, because I've had to learn totally new skills. And that takes me to the point of, what is it that your passions are that really, your purpose doesn't change. My purpose has always been about educating people and helping people to do it themselves. That's been my thing.
I found out what my purpose was. And that's what I came here for. It was one of the things I wanted to discover here in Sydney. And I didn't discover it in the seminar, but I discovered it with you because you just helped me so much. Thank you so much, Downie, because I'm so glad.
Your passions, if you're able to do them enough, will guide you to your purpose. So this is my system. And this is what I love to be able to do, is to help people create, which you heard in my first video, create their books, create their products, create their websites in this case now, because it's changed, be able to create their offers, be able to create what it is that they love to do in a physical form so that they are able to write their books and to be able to then duplicate that and create it all over again. And from a position of what's important to them and what is it that they need, and at the same time being able to eliminate their tolerations. Like I know that Kate goes back to her personal foundation so that she's able to really make these decisions and go, yes, I'm brave enough. I'll be able to do that now. So if not now, when? And some people feel like they are really caught between a rock and a hard place. Some people already feel that they're on this huge, great big yacht with a rudder and they're very clear on it. But what I've been able to do for people and what I've been able to do for myself is get all the ducks in the row, all in the same row. Is that what you feel like, Kate, when you now can see, as much as there's still disorganization and there will always be, there's always a feeling of disorganization. Do you feel as if your ducks are in a row? You have to unmute yourself, or Regina will have to unmute yourself. Unmute you, I'm sorry.
They're still like in a little group, but they're close to each other. They're not all over the pond.
They're not all over the pond, exactly. Isn't that so exciting that they are not all over the pond? I love that. So what my methodology does is that it helps to transform people's ideas along with their heart, and then it starts to develop what it is. It's like a 3D printer, really. It starts to develop visually what people are able to do. So my breakthrough program, which I have broken down specifically, and it's more about the physical now. I teach metaphysical, I teach physical, but this is more about physical, like be able to define your product and service and project, and develop your framework for your brand. Not only your metaphysical framework, but also your physical framework. And then what are you, like Regina said, she's really identified the perfect client in her local area, right? And so then she's been able to target the language and her brand, and then be able to target specific information. And then what I'm offering is for you to be able to develop your plan for 2021 specifically, and actually do the work in the program. One of the big things I think that's really important to be able to do is start to develop and start to see what your biggest flex points are. What are the points from where you have been to where you are now, and has changed your values and your needs, and even awaken you to further passions. Be able to develop your core offer. We will be doing, and we'll also be developing that core promise, and developing an archive. Like some of this has just fallen down, but this is part of my archive. Back to front. No, it's part of my archive. It's part of what have I done? Where am I going? What have I used? What have I developed? Start to gather those together so that you actually have folders in your computer that you know that you can exactly just go there and this is where you're going to find it. Start to develop the model and your theme. And then there's specific questions and answers that we can do, what we are going to do on specific topics. So far, I've not had any failures. But what I'm offering for this is that if you do not triple your income when you complete all the assignments, which is what I have done in my mentoring program, that I will actually refund your money and actually pay you what you invested for, which some people, it depends on when they enroll in this program. And what I'm saying here is that some people go, oh, yeah, I've done all this stuff, but then they haven't completed the assignments. And I'm giving 6 months to complete the assignments. Otherwise, you're not staying with the deal. So really what I'm showing you here is this is the deal. And this is my agreement that I'm setting up for people that come in and do the Holiday Breakthroughs program from the middle of December to the middle of January. So these are some of the outcomes: being able to be a visionary for your own destiny. And of course, starting to become like Regina is the only logical choice for her in her specific area right now. I'm assuming it's content making, right, Regina? Or is it your spiritual hands-on process that you are doing?
For the digital transformation, it'll be the content.
It's the content, yes, okay. And then being able to develop and monetize through your passion, because you're passionate about that. If you're not passionate about it, I would say don't do it. And I see this all the time, and it's it's a given, but I think people forget that your self-esteem and your sense of independence does actually soar when you're able to physically give value to people, and people are able to transform their lives. And I think also the other outcome is that you become a part of an extended family like this is, with like-minded people. And the organizational skills will soar. There is no doubt about that. And that you'll become a part of, oh, that's in there twice. Huh, okay. So most people will go, oh, yeah, but I don't have the money for this, or I don't have the money for that. So if money was no concern, where did this go? Why is that there? And people say, well, then can they do it? Or do I want to do it? Or what am I going to do? But I think everybody here on this call is like, you're actually clear on the industry that you are in, and you're clear that you actually can do it, because we don't have anybody new here on this particular call that is questioning, do I actually want to go down this track? I actually want to send some gifts, but I'm not, and whoever, you know, most of you have trained with me. So the way that I deliver my stuff is I don't assume what people need. I want to hear what people need. And what I want to know now is, what are you taking away from this? And write those down so that you can tell me what it is that you're taking away, which will give me an idea of what you need. And then I'll be able to send those gifts to you specifically. So now if you can go to your browser, because on your, is it here somewhere? Can I pull it up? Why isn't it here? We have like 1 minute to go. But this is done on my website. I don't use any fancy tools. I use WP Bakery. I don't know why this is not here, but it should be. Am I still sharing my screen? It's not coming up. Don't you hate that? Okay. I have to go find when all things look as if they are organized. They aren't. There we go. So this website, I don't know what landing page you're using, Shirley, but what I use is I use WP Bakery in the back of my WordPress site, and I'm able to go in and I'm able to make very easy, simple landing pages. And so this holiday breakthrough workshop is broken down. And I actually decided today that I'm going to do another webinar like this to give myself more time, because we actually only started to put this out about 3 or 4 days ago that I was going to do it. And that's because we've been rebranding and doing a lot of things in the back end. But this registration page, this is the address up here. Holiday-breakthroughs-workshop. I don't know why it has to be so long, but it is. So we're going to start on the 15th, and we're going to go through until the 19th of January. And I've built this purposely so that people will have short, sharp sessions from 11 to 12 p.m. at Perth time for the first 5, and then 1.5 hours to 2 hours in January to actually pull everything together, so that by the end of that, you actually got a very clear plan as to where you're going from, what's important to you, and being able to put into some of these processes. And then I've written on here exactly, which we don't have time to go through because now we're 2 minutes late. I've written and broken down exactly the program, which normally I don't do. And then the other thing that I've got in here is that you can put in, and I'm assuming that you know this, Shirley, is that you can put in your Stripe in your form into WP Bakery. And I'm offering this right now until midnight tonight for $79. And how this is going to work is when I wake up in the morning, we're going to change that to 200. These are all US dollars. And then we will then next week, next Tuesday will be then another webinar. People will come in at $200 and then it will go to $350. So while this link is up, if you have people that you know that could benefit from this, I would recommend they get in at $79. Otherwise, they're going to miss out and get charged more. And there's 2 people that I've offered it at the $79 because they said they couldn't come. Well, they said they could come, but it was actually in the middle of their night, worse than yours, Kate. So what are you taking away? What's everybody taking away? I know that some of you don't like that question, but unmute yourself and what are you taking away from today? Because I've had to really skim over a lot and jam it into an hour, which now we're 3 minutes late.
Can I speak?
Yes, Shirley.
Yes. Well, thank you for this, for a start. A lot of those things I didn't know about you, so this was a nice, a quick welcome.
Very
to
quick.
Die Downie's world.
Yeah.
No, I haven't heard of this bakery, whatever you're. I've got a different system. I think some of the points that you've touched upon are really relevant in that, you know, focus. Absolutely. If focus, and for me, focus gives me a sense of calm. It takes away the chaos when you're focused. It also creates a lot more time because you're not running around and trying to do things if you're really focused for the day. So I set myself, before I go to sleep, I have a little pad next to my bed. I write down what is my focus for the day, because you do have distractions. There are things, particularly as you know, right now I'm trying to juggle people from all over the world at different time zones. So I'm up at 3 a.m. and then I'm back up at 6, and you're doing things. If you don't have a focus or a clear vision of where you're going, that can become quite untenable really, really quickly. So for me, I am in that digital transformation thing, learning, you know, like this webinar. I've watched it. Something I've learned from today, how calm you are when it's not working. Because for me, I've put off doing a webinar for 6 months because of the fear of not being in control and not having an assistant like right next to me or somebody else at the back end who, when it goes badly, they fix it. Because in my old world, we had a team, so I didn't need to worry. Now I'm a solo entrepreneur. So if it goes badly, I need to fix it. So that watching you do that today is really good for me. It's quite cathartic because you just calmly, and look, we're all still here. Nobody's panicked. Nobody's left. Where, see, I will go, oh my gosh, and I'm going to look unprofessional and, you know, panic. So those are a few takeaways from me today. And thank you for
Fabulous.
Yep.
Fabulous. That's great. Thank you very much. Because, yeah, it's like, so what? I didn't have any sound. I've been doing this for long enough. You just go out, you come back in. Usually it works.
Yes.
Just assign it to somebody, even if Regina wasn't here, but I know I can totally rely on Gina. I could have relied on Kate or Victor. Demetrius is in here. He could do it. And anybody could do it.
Right.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you very much. And thank you for being here. Who else would like to tell me what you've taken away?
I would love to, really quick.
Yeah.
And I've obviously been working with you and following you for many years. But I always find something that I learn, something new that I learn. And actually the biggest thing today is, because you're always talking about your values and your needs, and you help us go through that and the tolerations. But the biggest thing for me today is actually connecting that to your message, like the words, you know, using your values to find your keywords, your needs for the connection. Tolerations, I didn't get that one. So it'd be cool if you could go over that again really quick, or I'll get it from you later. But just having that actual connection is a really massive aha, because that's one of the biggest things I kind of struggle with, is like, what am I really offering here?
And then if you're able, yes, because if you're able to use your values, the keyword from your values, you know, from the exercise, and I just gave one tiny little section today, as you know, then you can extrapolate that out. And if you're aware of yourself, of what you are doing, and you're questioning yourself about the word that you chose. What does that word really mean to you? And are you seeing it in your life?
And the fact that you said, you reminded us, it's an action word too.
Yes, it's action.
So I just went back to my values, because I told you the other day that I did my values the other day and they matched what they were 6 months ago, which for me at this point in time is really amazing. And I just looked at them and I was like, oh, right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So cool.
And
Thanks.
that's part of the foundation. That's why I put that testimonial in from Kate, because the foundation is so important.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Who else is taking away anything? Demetrius, you just got here and we're about to finish. We're actually late. Is Victor still here?
I'm here. It seems that my internet connection is new and it's not the best one.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes problems with sound and but anyways, that's the case. It's very, very interesting because there are a lot of details of. I believe that there are a lot of details in the way that we are making a program and how are we going to implement this program. Because
correct,
this
because
is
it's all very well to have all this airy-fairy stuff and talk about values and needs and what our skills are and whatever, and like have all these great rituals, but if we can't implement it and actually then put it into practice to make money, then what's the point?
Yes, that's definitely the case.
Yes, yes. Anybody else have anything before we go? Any other comments? Any other takeaways?
Thanks for your time. And
oh, sorry you got here so late, but I'm sorry. Well, really, it was lucky that we're running late. Otherwise, we would have missed you all together. Yeah. Kate, do you have anything to say before we go?
Thank you very much for giving this overview.
Pleasure. Pleasure. I know it's very late there for you. It's very early for Demetrius. So as I said, I'm going to do another one of these on Tuesday, but at 11 a.m. for different people in the different parts of the world. And it will be different because I'm now, from what Regina just said, I'm going to add more distinctions in about tolerations. And more distinctions around the values and needs and the messaging and the tolerations as to the big picture and the planning. If we don't have that foundation in place, we're always going to be distracted. So I apologize for going 11 minutes over. There will be a replay. If you want a replay, email me and I'll send it to you. Otherwise, I'm not sending out a replay. But you will get emails inviting you to Tuesday. And if you've got anybody that that will benefit from this program, send them that link that I gave you today, the holiday, whatever it's called, registration page. And I look forward to seeing you again really, really soon. Talk to you all soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Have a great day. Have a great night.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.